welcome to another episode of the Protein Bros podcast. I am your host, Jeff Wasserman, and is with me, as always, my co-host, Kyle Combs.
What is going on, guys?
Love the enthusiasm today.
Really hyped today.
If you guys have not known this to this point, Protein Bros podcast brings on local Kansas City gym owners, trainers, instructors, the best of the best, our absolute favorite people that have made this into a full-time career. This is not just a side hustle for these people. They have turned it into a full-fledged career, and that is difficult to do. And so we like to tell their stories. We like to share their stories. And if you are a listener, we ask that you please share it up. If you could please share us on your Instagram, on your Facebook. We are available on all platforms, on YouTube, etc. So subscribe, like, share, please. We appreciate it. And with us is a very special guest today. Kyle, why don't you go ahead and introduce him?
Today is our friend Alex. He is a trainer and gym owner in Leawood, Kansas. He's got a new son that just popped into the world. He's a really good guy and
row your boat.
But it's Alex Baird.
Baird, yes.
People can get confused with that last
Did
name.
I say Beard or did I say Baird?
So okay, this is good.
You didn't say last name, so I'm saying
okay.
it's because his actual business name and let's go ahead and plug the Instagram now. It's Bods by Baird.
Bods by Baird. Very simple, straight to the point.
B2B.
I've heard Beard. I've heard Baird. Okay, so these are all things we want to avoid.
Baird.
Yes. And I'm just like,
Hey man,
just for everybody's sake, if you're looking at it, it's phonetically correct. Just say it as it's supposed to be said.
Baird.
So B-A-I-R-D.
have you looked at my last name?
It's tough. It's tough.
It's Comes and
yes,
man, people love to be like Kyle Combs, and I'm like, yeah, it's Combs.
There's an article that's being written about Kyle and I right now. They sent us like a proof, and it starts a sentence like with one of Kyle's quotes, and it's like, "Combs says." Oh,
yeah.
Whoa, what do you mean? Is this a video or is it a?
No. It's like a quote, right?
Full on air.
Like Combs says dot.
How'd they spell it?
And I'm exactly
not with a U.
They certainly didn't.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying that
it's like that's out of control.
But you have to understand that this reader is not going to pronounce it right.
No.
That's why it's going to be funny.
And hopefully there's no audiobook for that.
Kyle also came out of the womb with like a linebacker neck, and so nobody's ever made fun of him about it.
No.
His entire childhood, no one cared.
Yeah, dude, when I was like a sixth grader, kids loved it. When a teacher would call, like, is Kyle Combs here the first day of class, every kid would love it. They would just erupt in laughter.
It up. Yeah. You had to laugh at too, because that's just funny.
Well, I was just like, yeah, that's me.
You're like, I got to pick my last name, everybody. Cool.
Yeah.
Combs.
Yeah, dude.
Well, it's like, sixth grade is like right at the peak where like, you have the one kid in class that comes in and he just spreads the bad information throughout the whole class. And so everybody's figuring out around that time, like what that even means.
For sure.
Yep.
And so as soon as you find out something like that, it's just like...
You guys ever seen that movie Good Boys that just came out like the last couple of years?
No, you just told
boys?
me.
I have not.
Well, they were like, dude, I'm pretty sure he blowjobbed her. And he's like talking about doing something to a girl.
Oh,
and then it was just a hilarious comment. But anyways, that is that time of your life, I guess.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Speaking of fifth and sixth grade, where'd you grow up?
So this is the reason that you've probably seen the Husker Bandom all over my Instagram, all of my fan work. So I grew up in Omaha, small town, actually, Papillion, Nebraska.
Respect.
About 16,000 at the time when I was born there.
Oh, wow.
So it's a little guy. But so I moved there. And then all around the world after that, my dad was in the military. So went to Hawaii, went to North Carolina.
Navy brat?
Army.
27
years.
Nice.
Just retired, so.
Congrats. What's your dad's name?
Yes, Christopher
Baird?
Yep.
Well,
no, it's Christopher Beard. His dad.
Beard.
His dad.
Hey, man. Some people say their dad and it's their stepdad or whatever.
Yeah.
You never know, man.
I don't know. Guess
2022.
It's possible.
His dad
so those
could
are the
be a woman. We don't even know.
Oh, stop! Not going down that rabbit
Could be
hole.
Bruce Jenner in this scenario.
I don't know. What did so your dad? What did he do in the Army?
Okay, so he was kind of more behind the scenes work. He was overseas multiple times, but he's on the administration side of things.
Okay.
So he wasn't out in the battlefield doing those things, but 25 years bouncing all around. Just retired, and I figured he was going to go a route where he was working completely something different, but he works for the Army Corps.
Nice.
So doing more administration work. So I'm like,
Did he play an influence on you getting into fitness? Like, is he a guy that's really into fitness, or you grew up and he played, sports or whatnot? I know a lot of people in the military have that.
Yeah, so he was a baseball guy. Had an opportunity to go play in college. Decided to enlist directly into the military out of high school. 18 years old. So,
what was going on in the country at that time that really motivated him to do that?
That's a great question. That's something I'd have to sit down and ask him, because he immediately it was with no question.
Yeah, perspectives change as you get older, right?
Yeah.
I have a bunch of questions that you mentioned earlier. You're 29. There's a bunch of questions that I thought to ask. My dad. Now that I'm 33, I'm like, man,
sure.
You guys had kids at 25, or I'm like, man, that must have been tough.
Yeah,
little things like that. You just don't even think about that kind of stuff until you get that age.
For sure. And he, his grandfather and his grandfather, they were all in the military. So it just almost, I think for him, it seemed like it was the only route.
Yeah.
Which is the only reason that I was probably the first one to, within my family line, go college route from an undergrad standpoint, and then follow up with graduate school. Then come back to not even do the thing I went to graduate school for, which we'll get into.
Well, yeah, of course. Does anybody really go what they went? You know what I mean? Like, does anybody really do what they were going to do in school?
Yeah.
Unless it's like a trade of some sort, like nursing or.
For sure.
It's like if you're not going to school for that, then are you really going to do it? It's tough.
It is.
I'm with you on that. Was it a pressure situation not to be in the military?
I just think I saw, being a child and growing up in that environment, I saw what it was like, him not being home very often, constantly going overseas. Now, granted, there were situations such as 9/11 and things where he didn't have a choice. He had to leave, and he was gone for 8 months, 9 months, would come back and then get the call again. I'm leaving again. So you just start to see kind of what that does to a family, and you don't want that.
Certainly not. No.
So during that time, you were growing up playing sports. I'm guessing you played football in college, correct?
I did. Baker University.
Yeah. Did you play? Were you like a 3-sport athlete? And
so I went to Baker for football and track. So I was a sprinter, jumper, and DB.
Nice.
And so I kind of did that all the way through growing up. Dabbled in basketball a little bit, did a little football, soccer.
Here's the real question, though, man. And Jeff hates when I say here's the real question, but here is the real question. Could you or Kiani, which one's faster?
I'm just going to come out and say it because I feel like I have to, especially because we're right here. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If we were racing in a 100-meter dash, you would see me come across the line first.
Oh, God, it's been thrown down.
The Protein Bros review
we got to get Kiani on the
now, including a 100-meter dash.
Kiani's his business partner and a buddy of ours for a long time.
Are you guys business partners?
So that's also something we'll get into.
Yeah, I thought they just were like in the same gym.
So we're in the same vicinity right now, but there have been plans and discussions about next steps. So we'll kind of keep that on the
DL
on the hold for now.
Yeah, no worries. We'll put a pin in that.
Well, I might have just screwed things up now that you said it.
You just plugged,
Cut. Like Kyle, man, just jumping ahead.
Yeah.
No, but we may have to take this podcast out to the track.
Yeah.
Do like a virtual vibe.
No, there's a Protein Bros review that's going to be going down where we come to your guys' facility with something new for you guys to try, but it's really just going to turn into a 100-meter dash, and then you guys get to drink after that. Like, you get to have a drink of whatever it is we're trying.
Have you ever heard of a beer mile?
I have. It sounds absolutely awful.
It sounds awful, but we'll do a protein shake mile. Every lap, every 400, you got to do a different cup full of protein.
My God,
do you know what a beer mile is?
I'd be game for that.
Throw up would look so bad. Yeah. A beer mile is just chugging a beer before you run?
No, it's chugging a beer every 400. So you end up doing 4.
That sounds like
miserable.
Automatic throw up.
Miserable.
There's people out there. I actually had a dude in my gym that had done a under 5-minute beer mile. I was like, that is insane. First of all, to be able to run under a 5-minute
That's got to be a world record.
I don't know.
And you've got to slam an entire beer.
An under 5-minute beer mile might be one of the more impressive things I've ever heard, to be honest with you. That's an incredible feat.
Well, I mean, if you're a runner and you also like to drink beer, I feel like it might not be as hard. I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Because think about how fast you're not getting drunk in that period of time. It's
Certainly
like
not.
that amount of time, such a short amount of time. It's not hitting you probably till 10 minutes after you get done running.
Yeah, it could be an Olympic sport.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I think you and Kiani, we do a protein shake, beer mile, so a protein shake mile,
and just slam a 12 ouncer every.
Who wins a mile race? Because you said 100
Well,
meter.
So here's the thing. Now that we're on that topic, because I also was the cross country guy at one point before I converted into football. So distance was my thing at one point.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to see me in that either.
Being 130 pounds
now
also was your thing at that point.
It was. I was also literally half of what I weigh right now,
Yeah.
which is scary, terrifying. But if this resurfaces and we film and I get beat, it could go viral.
Yeah.
And I look kind of like a clown, but I'm not going to let that happen. I just can't.
Keani would
now.
chop it up and make it into.
You got a week on Keani before he's going to be able to hear this one, but we might send him a message.
He's getting older too, so
let's give a quick shout out to Keani Brooks, because we've just been saying Keani a ton.
Hey.
And he's one of our first friends we made here in Kansas City, one of our awesome friends we have now, and we'll have him on this podcast as well as soon as possible. Actually,
great guy,
great human.
Yep.
And how did you guys get together at all?
We actually met at Baker University. So he was one of the older cats. I came in underneath and met him initially because we were both sprinters, track, and then football as well. So him being a receiver, me being a DB, we often went against each other in practice. I came in as a young guy, so I was on the scout team. So I saw Keani pretty regularly. And it's funny how that resurfaces, because he graduates, and then here we come 4 or 5 years down the line. I'm reaching back out. Hey, I'm moving back from Indianapolis. I'm looking for a place to train. Fell in my lap. So
nice.
Without his friendship and guidance and assistance and mentorship and that, I mean, I don't think I would even be near where I'm at right now. So
sure.
That location is just phenomenal.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you can't. It doesn't get any better than Leawood 435 in a row right there. So
What's the name of the facility?
So it's Bar Gym. Yep.
Okay.
Best Amigos United reunited. So those are the 7 gentlemen who own the facility. They actually are just the investors for the equipment in the property.
Yeah.
And then they lease it to us trainers.
It's a beautiful business model. It allows people, to not feel the pressure to have to be a trainer at one specific gym, and
Yep.
But anyways, let's back up a little bit, man. What'd you get your degree in from Baker?
So I did exercise science.
Okay.
And when I actually went in, this is a good story, because I went in computer science, which is completely out of anything I've ever been interested in.
Yeah.
I just think
You're just chasing some money.
Yeah, when you're a freshman, you're going in, you're not really sure what you want to do. You're 17, 18 years old, trying to figure out your track of life. Immediately, one class in, immediately switch majors.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is awful.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
I'm like, what in the hell is he talking about? 5 minutes into class, I know.
Honestly, the what counselors do to kids at that age is unfortunate because you sit down and they make you feel like, hey, listen, you have to get on this track. And remember when they give you basically all the classes that equal you graduating in 4 years.
Yep.
And in your head, you're like, this cannot waver. I have to go down this path or else I'm not going to graduate in 4 years. And
it really comes down to time and money. Like the way they explain it to you is all based on well, we don't want you to have to take any extra classes, right?
Sure.
We don't want you to have to take any longer than 4 years. So that's the kind of the approach they start with.
But you got out early.
Quickly.
You made it out.
As soon as you could, it was like, boom,
Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah. I left the class, immediately called parents, let them know, hey, this is not for me. I know this is what we had talked about. Immediately switched to exercise science. I just felt myself gravitating more to helping individuals create a healthy lifestyle and stay active, because I knew how much, when I would leave an activity of being active, how good I felt.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to help share that experience with people. So that was the route I went. Went straight into exercise science from there and completely changed in that second semester, and we rolled from there.
Let's get into I want to go back actually to whenever you were going from city to city and growing up in different places. Give us some of your more interesting spots that you lived, and what were the pros and cons? What was the favorite place and what was your least favorite place and why?
For sure. So hands down, I was in Honolulu, Hawaii, 5th and 6th grade.
Those are some formative years.
Easily the best location we've ever been. We were all over the place. If I had to pick one, Honolulu was incredible. So we were in Schofield Bank, which is right there in Oahu on that main island. And we were there for 2.5 years. Winters were basically rain, which was so nice to get away from snow, being from Nebraska. We didn't really have those true winters anymore. So going to the beach, 5-6 minute walk. School is basically outside. So you sit outdoors in class, and
that's
hallways are outside, everything. So
How do I even do that? It's crazy to think about.
You basically walk through these little like coverings,
Yeah.
you know, as you go from, you get sent to the principal's office or whatever, you're just outside like strolling down, heading. You could leave campus if you wanted to. It's just that there's no surroundings, which kind of makes it interesting for emergency situations.
Yeah, here's a good question.
Where do you
So,
go?
like, being a Midwest kid and growing up in the Midwest, we always like look forward to a snow day. Do you guys just look forward to rain days?
It just
You like
doesn't,
couldn't just would you
doesn't
still be
exist.
out there?
Yeah, it just doesn't exist. I mean, it's cool, and it's the other thing that sucks about Hawaii. If you've ever, for whatever reason, you move down there and you have kids, school is basically year round. So you have 1 month off instead of 2.
Yeah.
The days are shorter, so you get out earlier, but you're in school majority of the year, which was like,
Why is that, you think? Is it because school's shorter? Like, is the day shorter?
I don't know. I just remember being like summer, and you get out and you're like, oh shit.
It's already it's over.
It's like you blink, you go to sleep, you wake
Yeah.
up, and it's like, all right, school's in 3 weeks, and here we go.
That's
so
wild.
that was the weirdest part. So that would probably be the con
Right.
if I had to choose one for my
Luckily,
Hawaii
we're all
experience.
done with school now, yeah.
True.
I feel like summer slows life down. So did it feel like those years went faster for you?
It did, and it also just like I was so used to like only being in a spot for 1 or 2 years, so it's just like we're anticipating the departure.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to plant, roots, right? You're kind of like toes in the water the entire time you're there, huh?
Exactly.
Kind of tough to make real friendships, like long-lasting, strong ones, right?
It is, and you get so attached to a specific area, and you feel like you're going to have an opportunity to grow there,
Yeah.
but you have no control over where you're going.
Sure.
As a 5th and 6th grader, my parents we're bouncing, we're rolling on to the next spot. And so I think a lot of that, I was able to learn and develop things about myself that are still present in today's world.
Oh, man, your communication skills are phenomenal. I mean, you just had to learn how to make friends fast.
It wasn't an option. And it's
Forced.
just-
Yeah.
because you just feel like time is wasting.
Yeah.
Once you plant yourself, you've got to start to get to know people immediately. You're walking into a situation where people have known each other since 1st grade, 2nd grade. They've built these relationships. You're just rolling in, you're just the
new kid.
odd man out. So this leads me back to why I chose to be in an industry that brings people together, because if I wasn't active and involved in sports, and I wouldn't have met half the people that I met
Of course.
on this
Yeah.
journey,
Yeah.
And so that was the biggest thing that I think I learned from those experiences, which then will tie back to the worst location that I was at. If I had to pick Fayetteville.
Was it Nebraska?
No. Nebraska. Yeah, if Nebraska's not that,
I talk shit on Nebraska. It's basically the same thing as Kansas where I live. So
legitimate with all the social component. I mean, Nebraska literally has just Lincoln.
yeah.
Like we have the Cornhusker football stadium, and that's it.
Yeah.
No professional sports, no like mini colleges to go watch. Really, I mean, you've got NAIA schools or whatever, but it's literally just Husker football, which is why we have
so
the
crazy.
most consecutive home game sellouts
I believe that.
I can imagine.
with a losing record.
Have you ever seen the movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey?
I don't think so.
He takes his girlfriend to the airport, and they're like, whatever plane's leaving next, we're going on it.
Yep,
They're going to Lincoln.
Lincoln.
And so anyways, all his friends were watching Husker football, and then
Yep.
they're in the front row, like with giant corncob heads, like rooting in the front row. Like, hey, that's the only thing to do apparently.
If you've never been to a Husker football game, it is unmatched.
I bet.
I mean, I've been to a lot of college, Division I football games and stadiums and traveling. It's just the environment is what it is because it's all there
All they
is.
have. Yeah.
Which
So
is awesome.
You know what I mean? So it's like spring games, sold out.
Yeah, Green Bay,
Like-
Packers, same concept in that, like, just there's the only thing to do in that town.
Yeah, I think most towns that are like, I think the Chiefs are really like that. The Chiefs are such a good game because for the most part in history, the Royals have sucked.
Yep.
And I think that I went to a couple games in St. Louis, and they were awful. I went to a couple Rams games in St. Louis, and they were awful, and that's because St. Louis has the Cardinals, which are awesome.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that plays a part in it.
Cardinals fan?
I'm not.
No?
I for sure.
He
am.
is.
Are you?
He's from St. Louis.
Yeah, I'm not one of those fans that like hates on other fans. But
Sure.
yeah, I love the Cardinals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
similar in that sense.
Yeah.
So you said your worst place was Fayetteville?
Okay, yeah, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Yeah.
Wait. So this is Fayetteville, not Arkansas.
Oh, it's like Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Let's make this
I
clear to
like
everybody.
Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Everybody's thrown for a loop right now because coastal Carolina sounds like one of the more beautiful places you could live.
So yeah, Google Fayetteville.
Doing it now.
Go for it. It's pretty exciting. We also were on military base. So
Yeah.
when you're on a military base, it is very limited.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as accessibility resources, it's basically like a college dorm if I had to compare it to something. You live in the barracks, and you and your family, you got a commissary, a barbershop inside of there.
Yeah, this is like a cute little downtown.
It has like it's, every little city has their own little niche.
That's what I mean. Like it's got like, some, cute little, it's just like the classic cute downtown, image in your head. That's just what this place looks like.
For sure.
Man, my wife was a military brat. Her dad was a colonel in the Army, and they moved around a lot. And she always had really fond things to say about living on base. But then they lived in Germany. They also lived in Pennsylvania. She still talks to a ton of her friends from when she lived in Pennsylvania.
Sure.
But she always liked it. I guess it's probably depends on what base you're on.
It does. Yeah. Your location is just everything. I mean, and that's why my experience in Hawaii was phenomenal. Because it's like, okay, I'm on base, but the beach is across the street.
For sure.
So,
yeah.
And then I think
It's literally located next door to Fort Bragg, huh?
Yes, and I was a young pup too, which is why I think the other reason I might hate it, this is maybe important, I was going down a hill on a bike pretty fast, pretty brutal crash.
What'd you hit?
It's the only thing I remember from my time there as a child.
Did you hit like a mailbox?
I don't, no, I just remember going down this windy hill into a park, and the next thing I know, I'm looking up at the sky.
Oh, God.
Damn.
Did you break anything?
So maybe that's why I hate Fayetteville.
Yeah, it could be.
But
Could be.
You need to go back to Fayetteville and heal those wounds. Go back down to that hill.
Take that, yeah.
Yeah.
When did you end up settling back into Nebraska?
So we actually, it became full circle because we did all these bouncing arounds, and we ended up getting relocated back in Nebraska again. So I came back 7th grade, and I was able to ride out middle school in my home roots.
Well, that's cool, man. So you got some old friends that you still had, that you came back to, or was it a different school?
No, it was exact same group, and people were, including myself, excited. Like, dude,
yeah,
I didn't think you were ever coming back.
All the ladies were like, "Oh, you hit puberty." Hey, what? He's a 7th grader now, Kyle. Why you give me that look? He should be psyched.
Big time.
New kid after puberty. This guy was raking it in, ladies wise, back then. Guaranteed.
That's true.
With a locker, going to the hallways.
Oh, dang. And
you know what I'm saying?
Athletic,
Yeah.
fast,
Yeah.
Hey, the guys there was some upset dudes because you were, coming in on their ladies for sure.
They may have thought I was gone, but
Yeah, when you came back, they were like, "Oh shit!"
I was.
Just hide your wives. In
Well,
7th
dude,
grade.
this is also the time you probably were staying in touch with some of the girls through AIM. Am I wrong?
Hey, AIM was.
You know what I'm saying? Like you were.
I mean, dude, Husker girl, 4E.
82.
She must have been.
She's like, oh, he's in Hawaii, and you're like, what were the away messages? And like, oh, just going to surf, just
like
chilling on the beach.
BRB.
in Comic Sans.
Yeah, dude. That's what actually your away message was when you're saying you're coming back to, Nebraska. You had to probably get a new screen name, make it more appropriate.
Yeah.
Island Boy.
Island Boy.
Had to drop that off.
Yeah.
The original. So anyway.
So, yeah.
So we're back in Nebraska, 7th grade.
Yep.
And we got to transition this. You start playing sports again, right?
Yep.
And you get into school at Baker.
Yes. So, as I'm getting back into Nebraska, so I'll kind of lead up to that, but I was not, nor had it ever been in a football helmet before. So I'm strictly cross country, basketball, track at this point.
Sure.
So I have no idea that football is even in my cards at this point because I'm a $105.
Yeah.
Contact, scary.
Sure.
So I'm not interested in that. So I'm like, I don't know where are my cards? Where am I playing? What am I going to be doing? Just kind of going with the flow. So work myself up to getting to a freshman, and I'm actually at cross-country practice, and I'm running around the track. We're warming up before we go on our long run, and football coach says, "Hey, you ever play football before?" And I said, "Nope." why don't you come over here real quick? Or they're in 7-on-7, so they're just come over here, run a route.
Yeah.
They send me on a little vertical fly. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just sprinting down the field.
Yeah.
Everybody's played catch before, so I'm just running as fast as I can. Catch over like a junior safety or something like that.
Yeah.
They're like, you need to play football. And I said, I need to ask my mom. That's the first thing I said. I'm like, my mom's not going to be cool with this,
Sure.
contact and all that. So
That's hilarious.
but yeah, so long story short, we ended up going through that process. I ended up becoming absolutely in love with the game, up to the point where I work in the off season, bust my ass, everything I got to do in order to get on the field. And then we fast forward to Baker and I'm playing in college.
And we dropped cross country then, huh?
We did immediately. I mean, I'd say I didn't even get to the first meet. So my coach was pretty devastated.
Yeah, I mean, you were obviously the phenom
Mid-season.
jumping in.
I was decent in cross country, but it's one of those things. It's like, if you love that, you have to really love that.
Yeah.
Because it sucks.
Right.
There's also when you're, I grew up wrestling, and then I eventually quit wrestling in a similar fashion for football, for baseball, so I could take the time that I was wrestling and actually do football and baseball stuff.
Sure.
And I think that there's just such a difference between team sports and an individual sport like that.
Absolutely.
The camaraderie that you have and learning to work together as a team, and also like winning together as a team. When you win, in a group of people, it's almost like, it's a bigger deal
For sure.
at that point in your life. Is that what drew you away from it, or was it just the instantly like knowing like, oh, I can be good at this?
I don't know. I think, again, it felt good to be in a situation where somebody had seen something in me that I didn't see in myself.
For sure.
And I think that also, again, it ties back into what I'm doing now for a living. But it's like when somebody instills something in you that you didn't know you had, it lights a fire under your ass.
Yeah.
And
You
so-
want to prove them right. They believed in you, and you're like, oh, I want to make sure that I prove this person right.
For sure. And so I took that leap of faith, and the 7th, 8th, 9th grade team that I had built, friendships with in the cross country community, I had to let them know, hey, this is kind of where my heart is. I'm shifting. I'm changing sports. I'm moving into something that I feel called to do at this point. And when you have a coach that's staring at you and telling you you could be X, Y, and Z, that kind of sticks with you when you're young.
Yeah.
When's
the first time you got your ass lit up and you're like, well, this is not cross country anymore?
Well, it may have been the last time that I played receiver and ended up becoming a DB, probably.
You're like, I want to be on the other end of this.
Like, this shit
Coming
is
over the middle.
not fun. Yeah. It would have been probably my sophomore year, JV, slot, running a slant across the middle.
Oh, your quarterback left you out to dry.
And all you hear is, watch out, watch out, watch out. The rest is history.
Oh, God. At least it wasn't crackback block or something like that.
That, and thank God, like, film wasn't that prevalent at that point.
Yeah.
Because there's no memory of it other than
Yeah.
Right.
Except
for the memory loss.
thank God. Yeah. I don't
most
have
of
to
the
go
film
back.
that I have are from junior year and senior year. I think is probably the only film that I have of myself. So
Yeah. Sometimes it's better that way.
yeah.
But
So we get to Baker. We have a good career there. You're done with football. You go to Indianapolis.
yeah.
We don't even know why you're there.
Exactly. So when you're in the exercise science program, in the college route, they kind of give you these options of like next steps. A lot of it stems from, what are you going to do with your exercise science degree? Because there's not very many options.
I mean, many from there do the master's program, right? And
Sure.
if you get your master's, it opens up a little bit more.
It
right?
it gives you more
And
opportunities.
you can go the doctorate route as well.
Sure. So majority, I'd say about, if I had to pick from my class, for example, about 85% of us went to the next route of education. There's typically the therapy route or it's the master's route. So I went the therapy route thinking that's what I wanted to do. Helping individuals, being in more of a one-on-one situation where I can really assess strengths and weaknesses. And that's the route I went. Why Indianapolis? So there's literally no reason other than the fact that the school was very high quality. I interviewed, I got a scholarship opportunity in grad school. Those don't come by very easy.
Yeah.
So we packed up and left. And I say we because this is the moment that I knew my wife was going to be my wife.
Yeah.
She was not my wife at the time.
This is exciting. So how did you meet Callie?
We met freshman year at Baker. So first class that I switched majors to, Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Was this through AIM as well?
This was not.
This is pure game, Kyle.
That account was
Face-to-face game.
That account was deactivated at that point. No, so we were actually in the same class. When I switched majors, they changed my schedule around. She transfers from KU. This is second semester, freshman year. Lands in that class. Baker class sizes 16 to 25, depending upon the class.
Was there a group project?
Oh, no.
Of course.
I got to get your
I had
number.
to pick a partner.
I had to get your number for the group project.
When you're in a small facility as well, the pond is pretty small, right? Yeah. So
a friendship request was made via Facebook.
Facebook it was.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's the classic, right?
Nice.
So, worked on a couple projects together. She didn't have really any friends other than the one she knew from high school. So I wanted to be that friend.
Sure you did.
You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be that friend. No, I mean, I was attracted to her. She was a gorgeous girl, smart.
Yeah, you knew what it was like to be a new kid in school. You know what I mean? You knew what it was like, that feeling.
Yeah.
All circles back, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
You were.
Where's she from?
You were trained your whole life for that moment.
Oh, she's from Lawrence?
Lawrence, Kansas. Yep.
Nice.
So she went the route of going straight to KU because that's what majority of the Lawrence cats do. And she's like, oh, this isn't for me. Too big. Class of size. We're, like ridiculously big. So not
especially your freshman year. As you get into your degree program, obviously things start to get smaller. I mean, we went to a big school in the sense of just population. There's 30,000 or so students at Missouri State. And so we had 100 plus kids in my psychology classes, all those gen eds.
Yep.
100 people in a lecture hall.
Crazy.
I mean, ridiculous. But I mean,
you're lost.
You do what you got to do.
Yep.
It's true.
With you on that.
I'm going to throw this out there. It's kind of off subject, but I take Fayetteville over Indianapolis. Is Indianapolis cool? In my head, I just think of it as just being
Sports lover.
Yeah.
Indy's great.
Oh, really?
You got the NCAA champion Hall of Fame down there that you can go through. It's kind of a hands-on experience, which is pretty cool. You got the Colts. You got the Pacers.
You got the Speedway.
The Speedway. Indy 500.
You're a big Speedway guy, aren't you?
Have you ever been to the 500?
I've never been to a 100 to 500. But I would absolutely.
That's why I was like, whoa.
Let me be very clear on this. I would love to go, and you can't help but not love like that. I mean, dude, the noise alone would just be a crazy experience. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
NASCAR fans look like they have fun, dude.
Dude, you have to go.
I feel like NASCAR
is
more of a party than a sporting event.
Well, Alex is about to tell us.
Are you big into
the look on his
NASCAR?
face?
I didn't give a damn about NASCAR.
This is about it, but
I just was there for the party, dude.
Yeah.
Let's hear about the party at the Indy 500. What's it like?
Sell us on NASCAR.
Indy 5. God damn it, Kyle. Indy 500.
Oh, it's Indy 500. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sell us on racing.
It's not even NASCAR.
Yeah,
it's
sell us on racing.
It's open wheel, you turd.
It is way more dangerous. So.
I at least watched enough ESPN to know the difference. That's all I got.
No, I mean, dude.
It's more than I know, actually.
Just said everything I know about racing.
Guys, here's the deal. If you're going to watch Indy 500, you're going to also watch NASCAR. No one is like, you know what? I will not watch Indy 500 because I'm a NASCAR guy.
I don't know. I don't think you have to be a NASCAR guy.
It's racing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's similar. It's racing.
If you're going to buy a ticket.
I know a lot of Formula One racing fans that do not follow NASCAR, not one iota.
Oh, like that own the team? Are you talking about that? And then maybe sponsor them, and so that's why they pay attention to them?
Not at all, dude. And nobody we know knows people who own Formula One racing teams.
Or whatever.
That's another level.
Yeah, I have
for
no
sure.
clue.
So anyways, back to your story about the Indy 500 and getting hammered.
Yes. So if it helps you formulate any sort of what is it like, I didn't watch one lap in the two times I went because
it's a Chiefs tailgate.
You're literally in the center of the track, and it is just a all-out party. I mean, you got tents, you got pop-up shops, you got people selling things. I mean, it is just coolers. You get there at about 3:40 in the morning, 4 a.m. to get your spot. You just see people rolling in with the coolers. I mean, people who have no idea what's going on, including myself. So you roll in, you're in the middle, and you're there from sunrise, damn near close to sunset.
And you start shotgunning beers right away.
It's incredible.
What was your and Callie's drink of choice that day? I'm assuming Callie made it for this trip.
So we went with the old mule route. Okay. because Moscow mules in the little cans. Have you ever had those?
You know what? Not yet.
It's not the same.
Not the same,
but very
pretty delicious.
Yeah. So we bought the little 12 pack, 12 packs of those, 24, split them around. Because here's the thing: is everybody's getting together.
Yeah.
It's just a free for all.
Yeah, a lot of trading going down.
You're just bringing what you need to the. It's like a bring your own type vibe, and then it's just free for all.
Nice
at that point. So pre-COVID, I went, so I got to experience like the real 500.
You guys were asses to elbows with a bunch of strangers.
Pretty incredible experience. No, it is the only thing. If I give you one recommendation, if you go, is have a way out.
Get trapped. Get your
impossible.
Get your car.
I mean, you're trying to leave a parking lot. You better put your car in park. People are standing on vehicles with music turned up. You're not going anywhere.
Can you just camp out and be done with it?
Most people.
Honest question: can you? Are you allowed to spend the night?
I think they have certain parameters on arrival, so they've got block offs for areas of where you would actually have to park to be relatively close.
Yeah.
But you got people who are living around in the metro who are selling garage spots, pulling up into your house for $100.
Really?
Making great money because people are going to do whatever they have to do to get close. But when I tell you the race ends at I don't know, let's just say 4:00, for example, you walk back to the vehicle, you're not getting out and we did not get out of that parking lot till 8 or 9 p.m.
Wow. Yeah. That's when you just start really tailgating again, just have the back, have the tailgate grill, just make some dinner, got to have a Jenny maybe so you can watch TV, whatever you got to do, Doesn't sound too terrible.
It's incredible though. So if you haven't been,
I'm a fan of this experience. I want to try it.
Put it on your calendar.
Sure. We got the Kansas Speedway 600, don't we, or something?
Yeah, I don't know. Mike Miller, one of my best friends in the world. He always talks about how awesome the NASCAR race that comes here is.
I mean, I got to do it. We got to do it. I even had tickets once I was
He
out of
also
town.
knows nothing. I mean, nothing about racing. He'll be like, "Yeah, I mean, you gamble on it." He's
Dude.
like, "You're gambling on something you don't know what you're gambling on."
That's a little reckless.
That's 90% of people that go to
anything,
the Kentucky Derby,
or if you go to horse, if you go to horse betting or anything, I've done that before.
Just pick your pony and have a good time,
Yeah.
So somehow this transitions to fitness. So let's do it.
Yeah.
So Alex, you're done with school. You had to make this, and this is where I want to know is there's a lot of fear here, and we've had a lot of we made a lot of jokes and so forth throughout this podcast. But you got to a point after school where there's this huge fear of committing to a path, right? And you don't know if it's going to work out, especially if you're out on your own. And so, where did your training experience come from to where you felt like I can just get started? I mean, did you have a client to get started with? Or was this just hey, I'm throwing this up on my Facebook, hoping somebody, wants to join up with me that, you can get experience with? I mean, that's just a tough decision to make. And how did you make it?
It is. Yeah. So initially when you're graduating from your undergrad in my exercise science program at Baker, they require you to take some sort of certification exam, whether you pass it or not. You have to sit for it and you have to go through that process.
Did you do the CSCS?
Yes. I said ACSM. Okay. American College of Sports Medicine. So I took that exam. There was 15 individuals in my senior class that graduated from that department, and 4 of us passed the exam, myself included. So I had that certification in my back pocket as I'm traveling to Indiana to go to a doctorate program of occupational therapy. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into kind of what that looked like when I got there. But we pack up bags. We moved to Indy. I've always been working. I mean, since I was 16 years old, first job, Arby's, fry station, sweating, dying.
We love Arby's here.
We have the meats.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, this is
going to get off of topic again.
Yeah, we're going to get
off
topic.
I know.
But Kyle and I are not.
I feel very
Arby's.
strongly about this.
It's partially my fault.
As far as fast food restaurants, Arby's fries are the absolute best, period.
When you got someone back, me chefing back there.
Seasoned curlies. They're great.
So good. All right, now continue.
I don't know how we got there.
Well, you made the mistake of telling us.
You said you worked at Arby's.
Okay. I worked at McDonald's when I was a kid,
So when I'm in at Baker University, I'm working at Dick's Sporting Goods, and so I've actually gotten contact with the Indianapolis store so I could transfer because I knew I had to be working while I'm in grad school. It's just not an option because I'm not going to let my wife, who's a first-year teacher in a brand new city, never lived outside of Kansas, do this on her own. So I knew that I had to step up in that realm of whatever income I was bringing in, even if it was at the absolute minimum.
Yeah.
So I'm working, I'm going to grad school from 8 to 4, heading straight from there, going to Dick's Sporting Goods, working till close, 9:30, 10. Wake up, do it all again. Working about 3 or 4 times a week in order to help pay bills, right? At some point during my time, I get to the point where I'm sick of working at Dick's Sporting Goods. I've got this degree in exercise science. I've got a certification. Let's just dip in and see what my options are. So I dip into LA Fitness, which is a commercial gym just like Lifetime. Over there closer to the East Coast, they've got a lot of them. But I went and applied. So they hired me on as a part-time trainer, and I left Dick's Sporting Goods. Started first day. Had a lot of experience and knowledge. So that's kind of where I got into the industry of training.
Sure.
Leaving grad school, going to personal train after work, working with clients regularly. I was really able to learn a lot during that time.
I was about to say, what's the main thing, when a trainer's getting up off the ground and they're first getting dipping their toes in the water, what's the main thing that you think separates people who are successful by the people who wash out? Which obviously in the training world, there's a ton of people that come in and out of the industry.
Yeah, specifically corporate gym like you went to, it's just one of those things where they're used to having a ton of different turnover.
Sure. And I, you just had to get to the point where, first of all, I stepped into a position where I felt from an education standpoint, I had an upper hand.
No doubt.
Lots of reading, lots of late night, just finding and operating and looking at resources and however I could establish myself in that environment. And so that would be kind of the first thing I would say is when you're looking to get in this industry, make sure you have an upper hand in some sort.
Yeah.
Going on Instagram and scrolling and just looking at what somebody else is doing, that is not a credible opportunity for you to take on those leaps and apply them to your clientele. Mm-hmm. You've never done it. You have no idea what's going to happen if you do it. You need to put your own little sriracha, your own little spice on it.
I like it.
And figure out how to incorporate what you know, make it your style, mesh it together, and then allow these individuals to then grow.
Yeah.
So that is what I did is I felt like I was working with 30, 40-year-olds that were trainers in the industry, and I just felt like I was doing more.
And you were.
You probably were.
Constantly.
Yeah.
And so they,
young and hungry, man, they say it like that for a reason, Alex. And you can probably attest to this now that, a lot of, 22, 23-year-olds, if you have like big expectations for yourself, they've been washed out, if you will, by I shouldn't say like this for a fact, right? But majority of the time when you get to meeting people that are in their 30s and 40s, they've kind of given up on what they thought they were going to be. If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And so they're just comfortable, man. They're just complacent, and it doesn't even mean that's a bad thing, right?
Sure.
But you had bigger dreams, you had bigger hopes, you had bigger things you wanted to accomplish, and you had more you had to prove to yourself. And they were like, I'm pretty good where I'm at.
Yeah.
And that's pretty common. And so if you're listening to this and you go to a gym and you have people that are older than you that are acting like that, at the bottom line is, set your own pace. Don't let somebody else dictate your pace, because it could have been very easy for someone like yourself to see. And this is a maybe like a more direct way of putting it, but when you start at a job, you learn what you can get away with. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
You figure out what you can get away with, and hey, I'm going to still get paid, but I only have to work this hard, right?
Yep.
And they'll still pay me. And so if you are around people that are like that, it can be tempting to want to do that too, because you don't want to work harder than them.
Sure.
It doesn't make any sense to you. Like, why do I have to work harder than them? They've been here longer than me.
Yep.
And it's just all about attitude. And so it's just awesome to hear that when you started, you had that thought process and you're around these people that aren't working nearly as hard, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's eye-opening in the sense. It's like almost setting an example of like what I don't want to look like if I flash forward 5 years from now. So it kind of motivated me and fueled me, man. I would walk into that place just ready to rock and roll. And this is kind of when I started to notice I was in Indianapolis for the wrong reason, but I fell into an opportunity that was the right reason. Going to school day to day for something I wasn't as passionate about. I would be in class looking up things on how to help a client for work after I got out of class. Started developing the Bods by Baird brand in class my last year of school because I already knew I was running into a career conflict. Mm-hmm. So it's challenging when you're already in so deep with something of that nature that costs that much.
Oh, yeah.
but I'm already here.
A doctorate, right?
Yeah, it is. It's doctorate of occupational therapy. So I was already there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm committed to this damn thing. That's the other thing is I'm not going to quit. I'm going to ride this out because I'm here.
Yeah.
Might as well go get these damn credentials while I'm here.
So we finished.
So yeah, I went all the way through.
Yeah.
And worked damn near full time as a trainer on the side. It was a challenging time in Callie and I's life because I wasn't home very much.
Right.
I mean, and I'm over here grinding.
When you are home, you're not even present.
No,
right?
because I'm reading and I'm studying and trying to prepare myself for classes. But when I found myself gravitating towards using my free time to applying to what I was going to help my client with at the gym, I started to have something click,
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, this is not good. Like, I'm here to be, and I would try to have those conversations with myself. You're here for therapy school. Stay locked in, stay focused.
What did your wife say when you came home and you're like, hey, babe, I'm getting this doctorate, but I think that I actually want to do this?
She was surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, but I had always had, when I made that a decision to go to therapy school, I had a relatively decent vision of like, okay, when you walk in, there's going to be a split facility. It's going to be therapy on the left and it's going to be personal training on the right. And we're going to mesh these two together. And that's kind of where my thought process was during this time. It very slowly started to change as I started to get older, wiser, and started creating these connections in the fitness industry. It's pretty much priceless when you have the opportunity to see what you can do for somebody in this industry when they give you what I call the look, right? When they're close to the end of their progression. It's just unmatched. I mean, so I had that feeling and it was happening over and over again because I was investing so much. A lot of people were changing.
The look that you're talking about, is that the one where you feel like, just to expand on this, maybe the look of like, wow, I can now believe in myself. Wow, I didn't realize I was capable of this. Wow, I can't believe I have this confidence now.
Yep. That simply, I mean, it's just almost to the point where they're lost for words, but impressed with their ability to stay as consistent as they did and get to that point.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to what I told you at the very beginning. When somebody instills confidence in you and helps you create something in yourself that you didn't know you had, you give that look too at the end when you're like, shit, man, I just did that. Like, and it happens quickly when you're consistent because you're getting so lost in it.
Yeah. Confidence is it seems to be like a running theme in your life. Cause when you first got into LA Fitness too, you were talking about education. You want to have the education. Well, really all that was doing was giving you the confidence to come to somebody who's 40 years old and say, hey, I can help you. And you transfer that confidence to them, and now they believe in themselves.
Correct.
So, that seems like it's been, a focal point of your life for a long time.
Absolutely. I'd have to agree with that. And the other thing I wanted to mention when I was talking about this earlier is just when you show up, and when I was showing up with an energy that was not present in the facility. And so that caused looking and staring, and this is a little unorthodox for LA Fitness. He's pretty passionate about what he's doing. He also has structure and routine and organization, and he's checking his clients in when they walk in and taking measurements. And
he's being a professional. This is
crazy. What's going on?
He cares. This is weird.
It's unfortunate that that's really how rare these things are, and I don't want to say that that's just fitness. I mean, I think that's something you can expand on throughout, all different forms of careers. I mean, there's a lot of people that are collecting a paycheck no matter where you go, right? And so when people say like, how do I move forward? How do I progress? It's like, genuinely care about wanting to progress.
Yep.
I mean, dude, I'll never forget. I was a punk, server at a Cheddar's restaurant when I was like 18, 19, like sophomore in college, freshman in college, something like that. And I'll never forget, there was a guy that was a little bit older than me who wanted to turn that into his career. He was like the worst person ever to work with. He forced me to have to like put the ice scoop back where it went and like made me, roll silverware better or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like in your head, you're like, dude, I didn't want to really do this job. I was just trying to collect money. You know what I mean? Like, what are you making me do here?
Yeah.
And I'll just never forget how hard this guy tried at being a server at Cheddar's. And of course, in my head as an 18-year-old punk, I'm like, this kid sucks. Like,
Loser.
hey,
Yeah.
like why is this guy wanting to be a freaking manager at Cheddar? Like, dude, good for that guy.
Yeah.
Like I have,
He's a regional manager and makes $300K now.
I'm sure, dude. He was
Probably.
he was a tremendous employee. He was really, really good. His name was Kevin. He was awesome in that sense. But like at the time, those are the people hate working with because they make them work harder. And we love our employees that are like that, of course.
Absolutely.
Well, now it's an expectation from us, but
True.
Back then, you have to have somebody that comes. So I guess who was the person that came along in your life that gave you the higher expectations for yourself? And also it sounds like you were very disciplined when you were dealing with your clients. Who was the person that was the biggest influence on that? Or was it like a situation that influenced you, like playing football in college?
So if I had to select one situation that really kind of fueled that fire, it would be growing up in that military home lifestyle where everything was established and routine and organized. And a lot of the times, because of the nature of that job, dad is out. He's gone.
Yeah.
So that only leaves one person to step up in that situation. And I felt like I was that person at home, right? So when mom needed shit done, my hand's going up or I'm stepping forward because I got two youngers that are looking at me like, well, who's going to do it? So I want to be that example for them. And so I think that's where it stemmed from, is me having to step up while dad is gone, doing what he does for the country. I've got to be that person. So that's majority of where that kind of stems from.
Nice.
That makes sense. And now let's go back to LA Fitness and you're kind of trailblazing, something for yourself. When did you decide, you know what, I'm going to go full bore with this? Or was that when you gave County that call we were talking about?
So the program itself is 3 years. And so in my third year, in that second semester, you're basically winding down.
Right.
You're in clinicals. You're not in the classroom. You kind of come back for a few checkups and you're basically getting ready to take the real world on. Mm-hmm. So this is the exact moment I am.
And you've been doing organized, school up until like 26, 25?
Yeah, and it was hard as shit.
No doubt. I mean, the hardest for school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was awful, man.
You were like in the 24th grade.
Legitimately, right? Yeah. And so here you are, you're forking out putting these loans out and you're trying to do whatever you can to get this American dream job that I had thought was what I wanted to do.
Sure. And at the bare minimum, and this is for all of our listeners, it's like, dude, it's one of the few paths that you can take that does genuinely almost guarantee you a phenomenal paying position.
Sure.
When you graduate.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
With lots of sacrifice and money.
An obnoxious amount of sacrifice.
Ridiculous.
So to not take that, there's a lot of pressure on you to take that, that route.
Absolutely.
So for you to not take that route, it was a big decision.
It was. So I was sitting in class. This is about 3 weeks away from graduation. I'm finalizing my business model and plan for what I want Bods by Baird to look like upon my return to Kansas City, with zero clientele, zero foundation of what I'm going to do when I get back from that situation. I don't know where I'm going to work at, nothing. I'm just developing a business model in a class that is trying to prepare me for another occupation.
Totally different career. Yeah.
Completely different career. So I remember one of my classmates looking over, what are you working on over there? I said, building a business over here. And, just
no big deal.
Yeah. Just, kind of the little smirk, like this funny guy over here. And so that moment right there always sticks with me now that I'm at where I'm at, because I'm like, look, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Exactly, it sounded funny back then, but there's no more giggles on that side of things. So that was the moment where I knew I was going to have a conversation with Callie about what our life was going to look like when we returned. Because it's terrifying. Hey, I know I just spent 7 years fighting for this degree. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to start a personal training business in Kansas City. How does that sound?
That's crazy.
And she's just staring at me like, I'm a teacher, so, we don't make very good money. So where is our income coming from?
Yeah.
And I said, just be patient. So I had colleagues hit me up after graduation. Hey man, what hospital are you at? I actually went and interviewed. This is good. I went and interviewed at St. Luke's South Hospital for a position. Decided after the fact,
not to take it.
I'm going to go somewhere other route. Yep. That something within my mental, like I had a moment where I decided just go for it.
Right.
You know, Kiani we had already been in touch about, hey man, we got room over here. It's basically you run your own business. As long as you pay your rent, there is no strings attached. So I'm like, you know what, let's just do it. So I show up day one, post a little thing on Instagram. I got one client that shows up. I'm working her out for free. So I'm like, this is the business model.
Yeah.
I'm not going to charge you yet. So I'm paying rent out of pocket with my LA Fitness money that I made previously. A little bit of teacher salary from Callie's end, which is why she's godsent.
Yeah.
Because she allowed this opportunity to really become what it is.
Oh yeah, you guys were a team from day one.
Yeah. So I worked about 3 months basically with little to no income, training people for free. Just take a chance on me. Take a chance on me. And I gave them literally everything. Like that moment of investment was just beyond my level of of what I was doing when I was in LA Fitness. I was doing it at 10 times 10.
Yeah, man. We try to explain that to our staff whenever you own your own business, how much more invested you are in every experience that you have with a customer, and it's unmatched, obviously.
There's a feeling when you work for a company of, if this doesn't work out or if I don't put in my all, it's okay, because the overall structure will keep rolling, right?
100%.
And when you go out on your own, when we first started, our business here in Kansas City, and it was like, oh no, what if we open tomorrow and nobody shows up? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's like there's no one coming to save us,
Zero.
Yeah.
So you're in that position where you're vulnerable in the sense of like, this is what I have to do. And it was do or die for me, which is why I went so damn hard in the beginning, because I'm like, we don't have income. And I've made the decision to not go the route that I promised I was going to be going. So now it's fucking go time.
Yeah. Now you got to make it work.
It's not an option.
Yeah.
Right. So you get to that point, you want to start a family in the future, which is what I'd have now. And I did everything that I fucking said I was going to do for Rowan when he was born. Have a house ready for him, have the bills paid for, have clothes on his back. Everybody's happy, financially comfortable. These are all things that I wanted to happen. This is back in 2018, August, when I had one client. So that is the reason now I see it even more that I did what I did, sacrificing. I'm working fucking 7 to 7 every single day, getting off tired, waking back up at 4 a.m., hit it up, do it again. Like, you just go through those days of just like struggle, and you just figure out a way to get through it. So I did that over and over and over again, to the point where we have now established what is BBB, which is now in the Kansas City metro, has become a community that I've created.
Let's talk about the tagline, separate yourself. Where'd that come from?
So when I first started my business, I didn't have a tagline, and I didn't realize how important that tagline would become down the road. So I started to decide, okay, what about your business makes BBB, and why should somebody in the community choose your business over the person next to you? And so what I wanted people to know through my tagline is, and how you could become, if you commit to this process, is you truly have to do things that nobody else around you is going to do, and do it 10 times harder than they're going to do it. Otherwise, you're just another individual that's half-assed trying to get his way to the top. So I decided, how can I separate myself from the people in this community so that I get to the point where my face and my name comes up in conversations outside of just a picture of client results? Like, I want people in the industry to say, hey, have you heard of Bods by Baird? Or have you been over to a personal training session over there? Those types of things. So that's where the tagline came from, because I knew there's so many good businesses and trainers in the KC area. I figured out, how do you separate yourself from the pack? And that's where the tagline.
I love that, man. And I saw that photo of you and a handful of your clients all wearing the shirts at the same time. That was an awesome shot, man.
Yeah.
Luke, make sure you pop that photo up. You know what I'm saying?
That was a great moment for me.
Dude, I mean, it's one of those things where, you get an idea in your head, especially on a business side, and it can be something as simple as like a lemonade stand when you're a kid, but that's that same like giddy feeling. And that's something that I think a lot of entrepreneurs that are true lovers of entrepreneurship feel. And that is just taking an idea and watching it come to fruition out front.
100%.
You know, and we were mentioning that about, the construction process of my home when we first got here.
Yep.
To take an idea and to see it come to life in front of your face is just one of those aha moments that you never forget.
Yep.
And, building that community you've built at Bods by Baird.
The community aspect of things is huge for me. When you talk about being real proud, seeing your community basically wearing your logo, I think that is such a huge component to happiness and to fulfillment in your job, man.
Absolutely.
It's like, we had a community workout this morning, and I make a point to go to all of our employee workouts, and
sure,
it's just fun to sweat with people, to share the same values as people, to know that you've brought these people together and the friendships that are created, and
yep.
and also in your case the results that have been created. It's you can go home after a long day and you can feel good about what you did if you have that community structure with you during the day while you're working.
Absolutely.
So
and when you're talking about community too, the thing that I appreciate the most is how close the people that I've worked with for so long have become. I mean, going on dinner dates, going and doing group events, planning things, scheduling things, doing things that I have no idea that are going on, and then posting about it and hanging out with the BBB fam.
Dude, it's amazing. Yeah, those like-minded individuals.
Crazy.
And when you had your first son, Rowan.
Yep.
Full name Rowan.
Rowan Jace.
So
yep.
when you had, I guarantee you, somebody got you something, was one of your clients.
Yes. With the Bods by Baird on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's just awesome.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of stuff that your real friends and family do for you.
How old's he?
And it's crazy. Like what, 6 months?
6 months now. Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, I got a 3-month-old little boy.
Yep.
Yeah,
his firstborn son too, but he's got 2 girls as well.
Two crazy
son.
girls that are older.
You got the last one, got the boy in the family.
I'm out too,
nice.
man. I'm out.
I don't blame you.
Out of the game.
I don't blame you. I totally don't blame you.
You're right, dude. You're not out. Give it like a few more
years.
years.
Are you medically out?
I'm not medically out, but dude, I'm out.
Because that's the important part.
I'm out.
He's outnumbered.
Because you can be out
dude,
here.
you know what? Having one kid is so fun because everything is so new, and it's like, everything you do, like taking them places is fun. Like
Everything's
all that
a first.
Stuff. Everything's a first. It's not too hard to have one car seat in your car. But dude, I got 3, and the third was like over the top, and that was like, now it's a pain in the ass to take them anywhere. Also, one of them's always screaming or has shit in their pants. Like, it is legitimately a shit show.
Kyle's doing a really good job of convincing me not to have 3 kids.
I was just getting ready to say, I think I'm going to hang on to just one for right now.
Chill there.
Yeah, dude.
Just chill with that one for a while.
I also was the guy that, like, at 2, I was like, it's not bad, And
for
then
sure.
3 happened, I was like, okay.
Our buddy
this
Mike's
is out of
got
control.
like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, 4, right?
It is 4.
Yeah.
I think you can attest to this too in that sense, but when your first one is born, like, your dreams and aspirations and business drive also kind of changes.
Oh yeah, dude. It changes your perspective.
Like on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Like, I just kept getting to these points where I'm like, okay, surely I can't push harder than this. Like, and then something else happens. And then you're like, well, let's get it.
Yeah.
Something else happens. And then when your son's born, it's just, there's nothing comparable.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's what really matters kind of, I think, bubbles to the surface. And speaking from somebody who has no kids.
You have a dog. You have a dog.
Yeah.
A dog is
I'm
a
just
child.
saying, I watched a lot of my friends, become men real fast when they have a kid on the way. And it's just makes you realize what's important in life real fast.
Yep.
And, the stuff you thought you cared about, like, well, this stuff just really doesn't matter.
It's much easier for me to say no to things now. I can run it through my processor of like, that's not important.
Nope.
I used to do a lot of things that weren't important in quotes, and now it's been streamlined.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part about being a dad so far?
Man, it's probably coming home sometimes and just looking at somebody who looks like you.
Oh yeah.
Is like the best feeling in the world. 'Cause it's like, man, like, this is literally insane. Especially early on, I have those moments constantly. Like,
isn't it weird when you look at him, you're like, I don't understand how I love you so much. It's like you have that level of like feeling towards somebody, and you're like, this is just wild.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like And it only will grow too, because you're a dude. I'm guessing you're going to be like me, where it's like once they start walking and stuff, that's the fun stuff. Where
For
you're
sure.
like, or they start talking to you and they can say, I have a daughter that's about to turn 2, and she just runs to the doors like, "Daddy, Daddy!" When you get
that's
home,
the best,
like it's
yep.
the best. Is he sitting up yet?
Unmatched, unsupported sitting right now.
Yeah, that's
which
that
is,
was a big step.
Yeah.
Or that is a big step.
so it's been fun to watch that. Rolling from, he's doing back to stomach to back, but not back to stomach yet. So it's like he skipped that and just went straight to unsupported sitting. So I'm like,
Oh, no
engaging
kidding.
what's
Core
happening here?
already?
Yeah. So we went to pediatrician's like, well, shit, if he's just gonna skip that part, if he goes right to crawling, fuck it, It's like, it's not that important if he's already doing those other things. So
I meant to ask this earlier. Do you do? I know you've done contest prep for people.
I have.
But have you done preps for yourself? Have you competed yourself?
No. So that's the other thing is I am in the process of, in the past 3.5 years, I've done 2 individual. I've worked with actually Keanu's coach, Corbin Pearson. I did a prep
Good dude.
up
Yeah.
too. So I kind of have been through the process.
Corbin
and-
is Keanu's coach?
He is.
I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Dude, yeah, Corbin's a buddy.
So I've learned kind of the process of how you get to that point. I put myself through it a few times in order to get to that level of leanness, and then constantly reading and educating. This is another thing is when I have free time in my hands, I am going through articles of nutrition and journal and figuring out how can I make myself better in these situations in order to best serve these individuals.
Sure.
How this started is I actually was not even in that realm of service, but I've had lots of individual transformations from a nutrition standpoint. Had a client who came to me that had been with me for almost a year, said, "Hey, I really want to try this." And I said, "Well, you're looking at the wrong guy, but I'm going to do whatever the fuck I can to get you there if that's what you want on the nutrition side of things." So I had reached out to Keanu prior and let him know, "Hey man, I'm going to start diving in, reading, educating, any pointers, tips, things that you have that you want to share. Would love to hear about them from a nutrition standpoint." And then I just those individual clients off to their opposing coaches and whoever they may want to see from that standpoint. But I'm strictly guiding them through the nutrition point to get them as lean as they need to be in order to be stage ready.
Nice, man.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So you're competing then?
So that has been a rumor that has been floating around as I'm in the process of that. So we'll again, just like we had talked about in the beginning, we'll stay tuned on this.
Stay tuned. So you're obviously somebody who follows, a pretty tight nutrition program already. What is your go-to cheat meal when you do say screw it? What do you and Callie like to get into?
I am a big Five Guys guy.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
You say it like you're ashamed.
It's not.
Like it's not phenomenal.
God, and it's at the Legends now, which is just like 3 minutes away. So it's just like always there. I'm like driving home, like, oh shit. Exit.
I gotta ask you though, since you're a Five Guys dude, have you tried Tay's
Burger Shack?
Where's this located?
There's 2.
I
There's one
could've
on
sworn
Arnold
I've
Boulevard, and there's one on like 150 something in Metcalf.
151st in Metcalf. I've seen it off the highway.
This might be a little blasphemy to you because you obviously love Five Guys, but I think Tay's Burger Shack is Five Guys, but just a little bit better, in my opinion.
And you mentioned your secret sauce.
It's similar. They're very similar.
Really?
Very similar.
Very similar.
I mean, just probably way worse service at Tay's Burger Shack, to be honest. But
I'm gonna have to get over there.
It's local spot, but they you mentioned sriracha earlier as like the secret sauce.
Yeah, buddy.
So I'm a feeling that you like sriracha. Well,
Love sriracha.
They have sriracha ketchup and sriracha mayo for their fries, and that alone is a game changer.
It really is.
Seems like a deal breaker.
Yeah, it's
well,
good.
if in a serious note, Five Guys doesn't have ranch dressing,
But
they have like a million other things. They got a million condiments.
Burger quality.
No ranch.
What's the burger quality though?
Phenomenal.
But Five Guys' burgers are money too.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with either one. One goes wax paper, one goes foil. I can go really down into the
I
details
was
here.
like, here we go.
Foil is like barbecue, like backyard style, like that's authentic to me.
What's your favorite dessert if you were gonna die down and then you get one dessert?
Big cheesecake guy.
Ooh, okay.
All right,
Big cheesecake guy.
I like cheesecake too, man.
Plain.
Straight up New York style.
You don't need anything.
It is the slice of cheesecake.
The thing about cheesecake though, it is the biggest calorie FU ever.
It is.
Ever seen a cheesecake on like MyFitnessPal? It's insane.
Straight fat and sugar.
Like 1K.
Yeah.
just from this little ass triangle.
That's true.
We
nope.
we have a we have a serious question for all of our KC guests, and that is obviously barbecue. If you've ever listened to one of these podcasts, every single time we had to sign it off with, if you only get one spot, you got friends and family coming in town, you got to take them somewhere. You only get one spot. Where you take them?
It may disappoint a lot of people.
It's okay.
But hey,
we've had a string of those lately.
I've got to stick to my heart. Q39.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, that's
Q39 is a popular one.
And there's a big reason for it, and they have this burger that they put brisket and beef tips on. That's just
Jeff's gonna know the name of this.
Literally, do you know what I'm talking about? The burger
here, guys. This is gonna
burnt end burger.
I was gonna say I'm gonna disappoint you. It's literally just called the burnt end burger.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I knew it was coming to me. I'm like, shit, what's it called?
I was actually gonna say the brisket burger, but it's burnt end burger.
The burnt end burger, right. Man. And it is. If you've never had that,
it's wild. It's somehow they do it like it's weird, Kyle. Like imagine what they put on the burger is not what you would think. It's not like a bunch of burnt ends. Imagine it being like a slice of a burnt end.
Yep.
Like one massive burnt end patty somehow. Straight up.
It is, I mean, the way that
weird.
the flavor of the burger itself and then the burnt ends complement it, it is just unmatched.
Silly.
I mean,
silly good.
Here's my thing with Q39. I took my dad to Q39 literally last weekend, and my dad loves burnt ends, and they have it on they have the appetizer menu. They have burnt ends on the appetizer menu.
That's right. Yeah, burnt ends are staple.
And they don't let you get them. So like they were like, nope, we're not doing them as appetizers right now. And it was lunch. I was like, what are you guys talking about?
They do that, because their burnt ends are so sacred. They got to keep them ready for everything else.
Yeah. Well, that's my problem with Q39.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's personal. I get that. Your experience was. I'm sorry to hear that.
He's like he's a slaps guy. But
I like slaps. I mean, Q39. I took my dad to Q39 because slaps is 30 minutes from my house.
Sure.
So, but yeah, man.
Yep.
Joe's is out.
That's
a
a great
for you though too, Kyle. You can get her. You can take them there.
It's a great question though.
Joe's. Have you had the Z-Man from Joe's?
I have not. Is that your recommendation?
That's pretty good.
I'm a Rocket Pig person at
Wonderful.
Joe's, but either one you can't go wrong. Z-Man or the Rocket Pig.
Well,
Wonderful.
You're more of a Rocket Pig guy.
Okay.
If you want
sriracha.
something spicy, then Rocket Pig would be where it's at.
Well, Alex, we appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, thanks,
most
man.
importantly,
Thank you, guys.
It was awesome getting to know a little bit more about you, man.
Let's tell our listeners where they can best find you and what you got coming up in your life that you maybe want them to know about.
So yeah, Bods by Baird on Instagram is going to be the easiest place to get in touch with me. Got some big things coming up for 2022 for the business, looking to develop and kind of grow from a personal training standpoint. So just look out for some group training and one-on-one awesome things, man.
Awesome, man. We're going to come see you soon, and we're going to try out some delicious protein, and you and Keon are going to go down on a 100-meter dash.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Let's get it.
All right, guys.
All right, buddy.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you listening today, guys.